Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody for joining us today for the JOBX webinar for student supervisors. My name is Susie Picard. I'm an Associate Director for the Office of Student Financial Assistance and Employment, and I'm joined by Grisel Valdez, Director of Student Employment, who will be monitoring the chat room to answer your questions throughout the webinar. In order to facilitate a consistent experience for all users, please do not use the raise hand feature, but instead go to the chat room, which is located on the right, to ask any questions you may have. So let's get started. Now, our goal for today is to familiarize you with JOBX, the new student employment job posting portal. We are very excited to offer you this new job posting system and think that you will find the system easy to use and helpful in the recruitment of student employees for your available positions. In this webinar, we will discuss the following: the benefits you can expect from using JOBX, how you can log in and post your available student jobs in JOBX, and lastly, we will discuss how to manage candidates applying to your job. Now, before we go into detail and discuss the system, I think it's important to discuss why we are offering JOBX as a resource to you. Based on the feedback that we have received over the years from on-campus employers, we know that there are many challenges you encounter when trying to find qualified candidates for your available student employment positions. And, hearing from you, I know that one of the biggest challenges is that students often apply to jobs they are not eligible for. Well, I'm really glad to inform you that with JOBX, students will only be able to apply for those jobs they are eligible for. So if you post a Federal Work Study job in JOBX, only those students who are eligible for Federal Work Study will be able to apply. In fact, the entire process of having students apply for your available jobs is being streamlined. Instead of wondering if your job is posted, and I know many of you do because I often get the calls wondering if your job is posted, now you'll be able to see if your job is live at the system. And instead of having students directly call you or email you, students will now be able to apply directly to your job using JOBX. Candidates will even be able to upload a resume. In addition, you will be able to use the system to directly communicate with student candidates. And I think that perhaps one of the benefits that you will find most useful is that you can save any job you have posted in storage so you can reuse it in the future. So remember that job request form that you would often have to fill in every single semester? Well, the good news about JOBX is that you only have to complete that form, the JOBX form, to post your job once. You can then put it in storage after your job has been filled, and then once the job becomes available again, you can reuse it. So I'm hoping I've gotten you excited about JOBX, and I want to now go ahead and show you a little bit about the system and what you can expect. So in order to access JOBX, you need to navigate to www.miami.edu/JOBX. Once you're there, you want to click on the on-campus employer link. Once you do that, it's going to take you to this screen. This is the login screen, and it has additional information on student employment. If you see the red arrow, you see that it says log in to post a job. That's all you need to do. Click in to log in to post a job, and you're going to be directed to UN's single sign-on screen. Now, if for any reason when you use your Kane ID credentials, you're unable to log in or you get an error message, it's possible that your name might just not be in the JOBX database, and we need to add you. If this is what happens to you when you try to log into the system, all you need to do is submit a request update job access form, which is that second form listed there where you see the green arrow. Once you submit that form, we will add you as an authorized employer in the system, and you'll be able to log in using your Kane ID credentials. So let's say you log in, and this is the first screen you're going to see. This is the employer control panel, and from here you will be able to post jobs and view any jobs that are currently listing or pending to be approved. And we'll go into the screen a little bit in more detail later on, but for now I think what we most want you to see is how do you go about posting a job. Now I'm going to go step by step here, but I can assure you that this process takes probably about 2 minutes at most. We've already had employers post their job in the system, and we've already received pretty good feedback regarding how easy it is. So I hope that that's what you find as well. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go to where it says employer name. This is what we know as your department. So you would select your department from the drop-down list. Now, the employer name that appears in the dropdown is based on the employee grouping field in the organizational screen in Workday. So if you would like to request access to post for jobs for another department, or the department name that's listed is incorrect, all you need to do is let us know by completing that request update job access form that I previously mentioned. But hopefully when you sign in, you will see your correct department, and once you select your department, it will take you to this screen. And if you look at the top of the screen, you will see a feature that says add a new job for, and in this case it says Student Employment Office because I was posting for student employment. However, your department name will appear up here. All you need to do is select that button, add a new job, and it's going to take you to the screen. Now this is the screen where you select which job profile you want your job posted under. In JOBX, job profiles are known as job types, and in Workday, as you know, it's job profile. So if you want to post a Federal Work Study job, you would simply select a Federal Work Study job. Now, if you are interested in posting a job under Federal Work Study and under the Student Assistant Program, you would need to follow this step twice. So just be aware of that. So for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and post a Federal Work Study job. I'm going to select Federal Work Study from the drop-down, and then it's going to take me to this screen. Now I've divided the screen in several parts so you can see the different fields available. Any field with an asterisk is a required field. So just be cognizant of that if you go ahead and post your job and you get some type of message, just be aware that it's probably that you didn't complete a field that's required. Now, most of these fields are pretty self-explanatory. In the case of, job category, we do have a list of predefined job categories, such as athletics, clerical, teaching, tutoring, data entry. If you don't see the job category for your particular job, you would just select other. In terms of job title, I think it's very important that you don't put a very general job title. Don't put a title such as work study, student, helper. Try to be as specific as possible. Office assistant, tutoring, research assistant. These are really good titles to put for your job. Then you would go ahead and complete the job description field, and you would also complete the job requirements field. This is if you want the student to have any particular skills. If you want, the student must know Excel or must have graphic design skills, you would specify that under the job requirements. Following that is a question regarding background checks, and all you would need to do is answer yes or no. As you may be aware, Level 1 background checks are required for jobs duties that include access to customer credit card information, and Level 2 background duties are required. The background check is required for duties that involve supervision or care of children. These are especially true of students who work with summer camps. And if you believe that the job requires a background check, just specify yes, and our office will then contact you with the appropriate information in terms of what you need to do to complete the background check for the student. As you scroll down, this is the next thing you will see. It'll ask you the number of available job openings you have, how many hours per week is the job, when the job starts and ends, and also when the job will be available for. It's going to ask you if you want the job for academic year, fall, spring, or summer. Now, let's say you're probably going to have this job posted in the summer and in the fall. What you can do is select summer, select academic year. The job will be posted right away. This is just to let us know if you are currently hiring or will be hiring in the future. And then the next field that I really wanted to draw your attention to is the job pay range field. That's that there. In the past, you've been able to just write a pay rate for the student employee job, and it's been an open-ended field. What we have experienced is a lot of employers sometimes are not sure what is a good pay rate to offer student employees. So in order to help you with that process, we put together a worksheet that asks, it's basically 9 questions. They're very straightforward. Once you answer these questions in terms of, the skill knowledge requirements required for the position, the supervisory requirements required for the position, and what type of job the student will be doing, the system will come back and give you a range of the job and what the hourly pay should be for this particular job. So if you look at the top of the screen, you'll see that this job is based on how I answered the question, pays between $9.01 an hour to $10 an hour. And once I complete the worksheet, it'll say the worksheet's been completed and you'll get the range. The next fields have to do with the work schedule. If you want the student to have a particular work schedule, you would just put that information here. And as you scroll down, the next screen you will get, or the next fields you will get, I should say, is the primary contact information. So your name should be listed as the drop-down, in the drop-down for the primary contact. If you think that the information, or if you know that the information that's listed is incorrect, you can actually go in and change it. If, let's say, you're posting this job, you want to be the contact person for the job, but you're not the hiring manager for the job, in the field at the end where it says name of hiring manager is different than contact person listed above, you can add the name of another person in your department that will either be hiring or dealing with this particular job. However, please note that the name listed on the primary contact field is the name that students will contact to apply for the job. And then all you would need to do is say, I agree to the statement above, hit submit, and that's the first step of posting the job. Now the second step is not too much of an involved process. This is basically the job application that students will receive. It's a default application that all students must complete to apply for your job. The general application asks general questions of the student, such as class level, major or area of study, skills, and prior experience. And it provides students with the options of uploading a resume. If you would like to ask the applicant additional questions not found in the default application, you can add 3 additional custom questions to the application. And you do this by selecting the Create a New Question tab, which is where the red arrow is, and you complete the fields provided. Do note, however, that all job-specific questions you add to your institutional default application will be reviewed and approved by the Office of Student Financial Assistance and Employment. And we do this just to make sure there are not any inappropriate questions being asked of the student. But again, if you're looking for a particular skill set, or there's just a question that really the default application you didn't feel, covered, feel free to go ahead and add a customized question to your application. Again, if you don't have any custom questions that you want to add to this application, all you would need to do is select Save Application, and that takes you to the final screen, the final step in posting a job, which is going to ask you when you want the job to be reviewed for approval. So it's good to have options. I know that in the past, when you've submitted your job request form, some of you wanted to submit the form but didn't want to post the job right away, and you needed to email us to let us know that. Now there's no need to do that. It's all here for you. So if you select as soon as possible from the list on question 1, which is basically you want the job to be reviewed for approval immediately, we will be contacted, and once we receive the job, we'll post it if everything seems correct and we don't have any questions within 48 hours. However, if you want to save the job for later, you can select later, and the job will go to storage for later review. On question 2, if you select yes immediately, and that means you want the job listed immediately upon approval. Now, question 3 asks something about job mail. So job mail is a job notification service for students. Student applicants can create an account, allowing them to define their job preferences. So if you like to notify applicants with job preferences that match your job, you would select yes in this question, or otherwise you would select no. Now, I always think it's a good idea just to select yes, because that means there are students out there that are looking for a particular type of job. Again, let's say you're looking for someone with web experience. If a student signs up for job mail saying, I want any positions that open up dealing with web design, you definitely want to reach out and market to those students. So I would always select yes for job mail, just because it's a good way to reach to qualified candidates. Now, another option that this gives you is on number 4, it actually asks you how many days do you want the job to be listed on the site. You can specify that you want it listed until you go in there and manually close the job, or let's say you only want it posted for 2 weeks or a month. You can specify this in this drop-down. Once you complete these fields, which again, very straightforward, they're drop-downs, you would select click here to finish, and then it's going to take you to the screen where you're going to, basically, that means the job was sent to our office, and now you have the option to either view the job details for printing, which it would look something like that, what's on the screen, or you can return to your control panel. I always like to return to the control panel because it lets me know what's going on with my job. Here is an example of several jobs that have come in at least through our office, and we have access to all the different jobs that come in, but you would only see the jobs in your department, and you can see if the job is pending approval. You see the arrow on the left-hand side, or if it's been listed. Now, another great thing about this particular dashboard or control panel is that it allows you to control a lot of different options regarding your job. If you look to the top right of the screen, where the second red arrow is, you can see that you're able to either put the job in storage, and what that means is you're going to get that job and put it away. It's not going to be posted, but you might use it for a later time. Let's say you posted a job and realize that you want to offer a higher pay rate. Instead of having to complete a whole new request form or a job posting form, all you would need to do is select the option that says change wage on selected jobs. It would open up the job for you, and you would be able to just change that field, and then the change is made. And the important thing about this is always select that little box next to the reference number to make sure that whatever action you take on the job is applicable. So you need to select that box first before you make any changes or to perform any actions on the job. All right, so good news is your job's been posted. Now, it seemed a little bit more longer, but that's because I was going step by step, but I can assure you again that it's a very straightforward process. And the only other thing that I wanted to mention is if by any chance you have any changes that you need to make to your job, you can easily access your job by going to the title of the job, and it's going to open up the screen where you're going to have different options to edit. You can change the actual application for students. If the application that you submitted, you're seeing you're getting some really weird answers back to that custom question you did, and you're saying, okay, maybe I should change the wording on that custom question, you can go to the screen and change that application and change that custom question. You can also change if the job is currently listed and you want to put it in storage, you can change it from the screen. So again, a lot of different options available to you. But that's pretty much all that's involved in posting a job. Now, the good thing, like I mentioned about JOBX, is that not only are you going to be able to now manage posting a job, but you're going to be able to manage the whole application process. In this screen, you can see, for example, where it says Test On-Campus SWS Job, that second job listed. See where the red arrow is? You can see that we received 3 applications for that particular job. And this is a great way to monitor how many students have applied to your job and to make contact with applicants to your job. So let me go back here a minute. So if you select, where the red arrow is, if you select that number 3, that means you want to go ahead and go to the Manage Applicants site or screen, where you'll have more options in terms of what you can do with the student applications. So you can click on the applicant's name if you want to just view a quick shot or a quick view of the application. If you use the magnifying glass, you can get, so the magnifying glass, you get a quick view of the application, and then if you click on the applicant's name, you're actually going to get a full screen view of the application that the student submitted. And if the student provided a resume, you could simply select on the resume file to open up the resume. So now that you reviewed the online applications for your job, how do you contact an applicant if you wish to set up an interview? Well, as they say, there's an app for that. There is an option to select students who apply to your job and send them a greeting. You can choose this option to send a quick email saying, thank you so much for applying to the job. We will be in contact with you shortly. And I'll show you what that screen looks like. Let me see if there's, so it looks something like this, and you can actually customize the email or the greeting that you send to students, as you can see here. Now, similarly, in addition to, greeting applicants and having them go in for interviews, if you know for a fact that you're not going to choose a candidate, you're not even interested in interviewing them, there is a button there, which is that top arrow that says Reject Applicants, and that will allow you to select the applicants that you right away just want to, reject and say, we're not hiring, we're no longer hiring at this time, we filled the position, or we don't feel you've met the qualifications for the job. So again, there's a lot of different options that you can use and a lot of resources available to you to communicate to your student applicants. I hope you're excited about JOBX. I know many of you who have joined us today know me from many years. I see many familiar names in the chat here, and I think that this program is going to be very much welcomed by you all. I think it's going to be a great resource to you. It's going to allow you to have more control over your job posting, and it's just nice to think, wow, a student is not going to be able to apply to a job that they're not eligible for, or you can receive applications online. That's pretty much it in terms of the general JOBX overview. We will, of course, be available to answer any questions you may have about the program. Well, I really hope that you found this webinar useful. We encourage you to contact us if you have any questions or need further guidance with JOBX. One of the things that I want to mention before we go is I know many of you have wondered if JOBX is in any way related to Workday or if it speaks to Workday. At this time, there is no connection between JOBX and Workday. JOBX is simply for the posting of your jobs and for managing those applicants that have applied to your job. Workday is the hiring program. So once you choose a candidate, you will use Workday to hire your students. And there is, I know we have a question in terms of, do we have a daily look to see if someone applies, or do we get sent an email? The system does offer you to be notified if someone applies. However, you can just sign into the system at any time to look at your dashboard and see how many applications you have received. If we're going to stay on for about another 5 minutes, if anybody wants to submit any additional questions via the chat, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. So what do you guys think? Did you find it easy to navigate from what I showed you? Do you think it's going to be a little bit more complicated? Are you excited about this program? I'm curious to see what you all think out there. I see a happy face. Thank you. And someone asked if we can have as many job openings at the same time. Yes, you can have you can have 2 job openings under the Federal Work Study Program, 3 under the Student Assistant Program. So yes, you are not limited to just posting 1 job. And Anna just asked if this will be available to us next week. It's actually available right now. So because you joined this webinar, you can go in there right now and test out the system. We are doing an official launch of JOBX on Monday, so we are notifying all student supervisors that the JOBX is now available, but you can actually go in there now. And one of the things I just want to mention is right now is a great time to post your jobs. You can post your jobs for summer. You can post your jobs for fall. You are not limited to just posting jobs available for summer 1. I mean, the system is open. Feel free to post jobs that you know you will have available or currently have available. We actually encourage it. We will be notifying students on June 1st that JOBX is available to them. So as of June 1st, we're going to have students going in to view available jobs, and we want them to see a lot of jobs there, so feel free to go ahead and post your jobs. Thank you, Tommy, for the great comment, and thank you to everyone. We really hope that you find the system useful. And again, you know, if you have any questions, you can email us at osc@miami.edu. You can, of course, contact me directly, spicar@miami.edu, or Grizel. We'll be glad to assist you. We will have a PowerPoint presentation that goes over what we discussed in this webinar, and we'll be glad to send that to you. But again, any questions, just feel free to contact us. Again, this concludes our webinar for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.